Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time. Victor Allen's New Sports, written and directed by the bald-headed black man, the man that the ladies have nicknamed Sexual Chocolate. That's right, rub his head and make a wish. Remember to dress appropriately. It's sports, damn it. Sports bras and jockstrap. And now it's time. Get ready. Here's Vic.
I think he's slick, man.
I'm trying.
You trying? Do not try to sexualize my sports with that promo.
Rub your head and make a wish.
Do not try to do that. This is legitimate sports. This is not about seeing women in bikinis and stuff like that.
No illegitimate sports.
Right.
We kind of like those.
Right. All right. Let me do this, man. Let me do this. Okay. Now I'm going from my phone. So some of you guys, I'm not sure what Mario's going to see. I'm going to revert over and kind of look at what he has set up. Oh, I love it. It's up to date. Oh, love it. Because in my systems, they're not quite up to date with the stuff I did last night. But who cares? Because I'm going to start off with what I think is the breaking down first. I'm just going to let you know how I'm going to hit this. The breaking down of quarterbacks unlike any other year. And they are accomplished quarterbacks. Now, there's some others that are injured. But what we got to try to figure out is who's going to surprise us next, a la Andrew Luck, and retire next. And then, even if you do, will someone win a Super Bowl before they do? Before we get to that, I'm just going to let you know a couple other topics, and we're going to go over and see if we can quantify why we really take the quarterbacks for granted when you actually get to see the information that's behind them. We're also going to try to tackle 10 seconds of the mind of Antonio Brown. Money's not
doesn't allow you to capture 90% of it.
Right. I am not going to put them all in the same bowl because Mario used to be a football player.
Yeah, I gave it up last week. It was a little hard on the knees.
Right. See, so he got smart. Matter of fact, Mario was smart. He used his head and not his knees. Gotcha, bro.
And I'm using my head
quite a bit
more as I get older.
I'm leaving this one out. Also, just a couple other things. We're going to visit Gurley Town. And when I say Gurley Town, there's some things out there about the LA Rams. Are they what they used to be last year? And most of the time people don't realize there's movement in teams where people go to other places. You go to the Super Bowl, you negotiate, you get your ass out of Dodge where you want to get paid. But we're going to start off first profiling quarterbacks, and we don't need to qualify Andrew Luck because he set a precedent that everybody got surprised by. And I said, well, why is everybody jumping on him? Because if you go inside the football world, the insiders, they're terribly disappointed. But let's just take a look at why he probably had to go. And he said, I'm barely 30, 29. And here are some of the things that led me to my retirement, such as torn cartilage, basically partially torn abdomen, a lacerated kidney, one concussion, torn labrum in his throwing shoulder, and some mysterious calf and ankle issue, and then, of course, the recent injury which told him, I'm out of here. With all that you think about, do we take it for granted, Mario, that they should supposed to be Superman because they're the quarterback?
Well, yeah, I think that was part of it. I think that's the part that saddened me, but it also saddened me in the recognition that he was being honest to what's going on. Listen, they didn't protect him.
Nope.
This goes to those systems where they're constantly allowing the quarterback to get beat up. So they didn't protect him. And then he found himself really in going into like a fourth year of continuous rehab.
Which is a pain in the ass.
Exactly. For those of you, I call rehab painful exercises that you have to do every day.
Right.
That's what rehab is. And so 4 years of that is going to get old for most people. And that's why all the players, you hear what the people are saying. Get out while you can, still walk around and go upstairs and do those things. Get out, Andrew, and go smell the roses. I'm with it.
Now, somebody's probably going to say, but Victor, your condition is who's going to retire next and win a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean Andrew can't come back. I'm not saying he is. I don't believe he is. But he can come back. You know what? Why you want to do that, man? He can make a comeback.
I am
Somebody. Right. There we go. All right, let's go to the next here. If you want to talk about luck, it doesn't belong with Andrew. It belongs with Drew Brees. 40. He's 40 years old. You know how many injuries he had? Bruised right rotator cuff, torn right plantar fascia, and the recent thumb torn ligament at 40.
And he hadn't missed a game.
Right. He
has like the lowest
12 games over his history.
His whole career, which is absolutely remarkable.
Which now puts the position here where now he's what you call the fortunate. I'm 40 and I have 3 injuries. That's it. That's why he's been able to sustain. So basically, he looks like he's going to be high on the vote list to win another Super Bowl, maybe next. We're not sure. Let's go to the next. Just to give you an idea. All right, Ben Roethlisberger already got 2 Super Bowls. Now, when you hit this list, let me just say this. It's going to take a while. Let me tell you his injury history. Chest rib fracture, knee meniscus tear, shoulder joint sprain, cranial concussion, pedal foot sprain, knee MCL sprain, hand finger dislocation, chest rib separation, shoulder joint separation, pedal ankle sprain, another pedal ankle sprain, hand thumb fracture, pedal foot sprain, head nose fracture, pedal foot fracture, head cranial concussion, pedal Achilles pull grade, head cranial concussion. Should we be complaining about this dude, man, when he's not able to move around as much? Let me just say this. Should he come back? Should he come back? I'm sorry, dude.
Well, you know, a lot of these things are really past issues and not so much of the issue at hand. This, to me, has to do more with the issue of hand. Mm-hmm. They say he doesn't need elbow surgery. Right. So I guess he could potentially continue. It's a personal thing. So I leave it to Ben. He says he wants to play. So
okay. All right.
Brady's 42.
And Brady, if you go look, he says, I figured out the way not to get hit. Release the ball real fast. Dink and dunk. Everybody knows this. This is the history. But you know what most quarterbacks want to do? They want to show you how they can launch the ball. That takes more time. It only takes 2.34 seconds to get to the quarterback. So the bottom line is he's beaten the system by speed and delivery. They're not trying to do that. They're trying to show you they can throw that long ball. Man.
And what's amazing to me is that everybody still gives credit to the quarterbacks as if they ever call their own plays. Right. So they never do. Right. So when the quarterback decides to throw long, that's the offensive coordinator and the coach. The quarterback's not calling a play. In the most liberal of situations, they can check off sometimes things at the line, but they better be able to explain that back to the coach why they didn't execute the play that he called. So it more or less, with the offensive philosophies, to me, they tell you what the team expects of the people.
Well, somebody has an early drive towards pain and gain, because this whole segment is really called Pain and Punishment. And that's Watson in Houston, Texas quarterback. So when they sit there and think about how much he's been hit, get a page, go look at the profile of the quarterbacks here. So we're going to go on over to the next, because I've already heard some ramblings about Cam Newton, that he will never be the same as he once was. And his history deals with a shoulder, knee sprain, shoulder rotator cuff, head cranial concussion, back vertebra fracture, chest rib fracture, ligament tear, pedal ankle sprain, and then the latest is I believe it's a foot. It's a foot injury. Not the specifics on it. I've seen a profile already where they actually were some broadcasters saying, "I'm done with him," and then somebody brought up the comparison and says, "Oh, so let me say, you're done with him. You didn't say the same thing about Eli Manning, who's been awful the last 4 or 5 years." And I said, notice, I didn't bring him up into this.
Not surprising.
It's not surprising, right? So all of a sudden, you expect more from Cam, but already given up. But a lot of people have already said that the punishment is catching up with him. But he's not the last one. Let's go to the next. Nick, they got him. The bug got you, Nick. Now, of course, Nick is not as, he doesn't have as many. He only has about 4. The shoulder, he's got a shoulder clavicle fracture, head cranial concussion, and metacarpal fracture. So he's been pretty good at the age of, about 30. Here's the question. We're going to put our best hats on. Based on this history, who's more apt to retire next? Next can be between now and whenever. If you had to go by the history of what we were just talking about, Mark, what's your best guess? Best guess now.
Of this group.
Of this group. I'm not including anyone else. There's other people got injuries, but this group have most of them are Super Bowl winners except Andrew.
Yeah, I can't see Foles retiring. I can't see Cam Newton retiring.
It could be next year. It could be the year after.
The next one to retire is going to be Roethlisberger.
Think so?
Because I think he's got the injury I think it's going to be harder. Well, we don't know what's happening with Cam.
Right.
We've got yet to find out.
Right.
He may have career-ending injuries, but I think Roethlisberger
is next.
He was getting there anyway.
This is a hard one for me.
Because Pittsburgh's going to move forward at some point.
Right.
And that means he goes to a backup role and he's not going to want to do it.
Right. Hardest one is to say who's going to retire next, because you're trying to get in the head of these people, but then something happens with a certain immediate injury, and then it throws you all off course. Ben will have time to reflect, and then he can also rehab his way back in and get in better condition. So he may want to go after that next one, but his team will not be the same. Drew Brees is lucky more because he can go and extend himself because of his style of play, but I think he wants that other one. Cam is hard because if the public keeps beating up on him, does he have the mind to take it? And his body may be catching up with him. Man, if I had to sit back and say who would go next, I'm a guess. My guess is Nick Foles. Now I'm way out of the box. It's Nick Foles, man, for me. That's it. Now, wait a minute. Let me switch over. Who's going to win the next Super Bowl out of this group, if any? If you had to go with recovery, who is in the best position? This one's kind of obvious, though.
Well, Drew Brees.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it. It's kind of obvious. It's Drew. You can't go in. Cam, I don't know. Drew, I agree. All right, you ready for your hat, man? It's therapy session.
Hey.
Okay, who, you want to be Antonio first? You want me to be Antonio? Okay, you ready? All right, what's in the mind of Antonio Brown? Okay, from a man from 30 million down to 9 million, we already know the guarantee, from Steelers to Raiders to Patriots, and then trying to throw what they call powerful people under the bus when they have offenses, and they say, well, because they are powerful people, the rules are not the same.
Yeah, that's right. Those tweets disappeared about Kraft.
Right.
I never could find them.
I saw.
They were gone.
I saw them. I was going to post them because usually people screenshot them. I didn't even have to because it was there long enough to see that it's repeated what he's saying. Oh, I see. And he confirmed what people are saying. He says, oh, different rules. And everybody's going like, yeah, and it's not fair. That's just the way it is.
When has life been fair?
Right.
Remind me of those days.
All right, man. You're Kraft, and you said with the NFL, and I'm Antonio. I'm coming into the office, right? I'm already here. I'm here. Where's my check?
Security.
Where's my check? I am the best in this game. You guys are not
Security.
fair. And Mr. Kraft, no personal thing against you, but it is true, right? It is true that you're getting away with a double standard, and I'm not. I'm the best player in the last 5 years as a wide receiver. You need me. You want me to be on that other side of the fence. Oh, that's the wrong movie, isn't it? I forgot about that. Well, anyway.
Security. Let me remind you, long after you're gone, I'll still be rich.
Wait a minute.
You're fired.
Wait a minute.
Go stand in the corner. You're dismissed.
There's a
Security.
See, this is what I want the NFL Players
Security.
Association to stand up for me. You guys are supposed to represent my interests.
Yeah, represent idiots.
First of all, why am I being indicted for something that hasn't been proven yet?
Because that's what indictments are. This is not a court of law.
And it's not an indictment, but it's the NFL's indictment.
Yeah, that's in your contract. They have rules about behavior, public image, no different than every star who performs for every network, every athlete. So every single one of those has had performance clauses. So obviously, let's just say you didn't read the fine print. And I want to say one last thing. Head Start is doing a wonderful job.
Okay, all right, man. All right. So really, what I know what you're doing is doing this. This is the dummy session. Hey, look, it's gonna be hard. It's going to be hard to stand behind Antonio Brown. It's going to be really hard. And look, I don't know all the information.
Well, you don't want to stand in front of him, I tell you that, because those lightning bolts are coming. I think I'd rather stand behind him.
Right. All right.
At least I can get out the way.
Right. There's always somebody in every sport that goes beyond. So, and it's amazing. I heard some conversation where they said, look, you guys will be shocked at how often there are players that have done far worse and are still in the league. But what happens is they're not trying to throw the owners under the bus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. You do that, you
need to pick your battles.
It's like Tropic Thunder. You cross the line. All right, you're right. All right. Hey, you guys, you know what? Green Bay has a defense and they have an offense, and I don't know, Mario, if this is a reflection on last year's coach, who basically is going, we're winning now. Why aren't we winning? Why weren't we winning last year? And it's a young coach. The movement from the NFL as it relates to having these young, progressive coaches, is it working?
Well, at least to some degree. It's a little early. I don't know if I would, on the basis of the number of games that's been played, if I would totally be ready to hit the gong and wave the flag. But it looks good.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And surprisingly, nobody had Green Bay up there. They really had kind of tossed them under, saying there's going to be this conflict between the coach and, of course, LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. And it's turned out that the praises from Aaron is, we have a defense. They do. It's solid. It may not be in the top 5, better than they expected. Just want to give out shouts that sometimes when people are trying to throw you under the bus, you know how people are, Mar. You've been there when you potentially, back in your days, would sit there and say, I'm about to go date this girl, and the haters come all around and try to warn you, danger, danger, danger.
Usually her friends who had particularly good insight.
See, that's wrong. See, man, remember now, you're supposed to stand your ground for the ladies who made the right choice.
Just say no.
All right. Let's go to Gurley Town. All right, Gurley Town, we got 3 games rolled in. Probably, I think yesterday's mileage was maybe short of about 60-something yards, meaning a couple of things have happened here. We're waiting for the Todd Gurley that we have yet to see, because last year there was an injury. Not specified, not reported, but we know it dealt with the knee, I think. And so they're watching him this year, and I'm not sure if we got the Gurley yet. And since everybody in the league has now been able to say, we now know how to stop that high-powered offense because the Patriots showed us how to do it, the Rams now are known for defense in the top 5, maybe top 6. So they're shutting down teams, but not scoring. Based on Todd Gurley, if he doesn't even equal the output of last year, will the Rams have a return effort to the Super Bowl if Todd Gurley produces at about 60%?
Well, I think they're going to be in the playoffs at least, no matter what. It's a matter how far. I think the idea is that resting them early,
right,
not just him, but some of the other folks around the league,
right,
to be ready for the playoffs. I think we're going to see they're obviously protecting him.
Yeah, they're doing a lot to protect him, bro. And you don't see it. Now, fair to say, a couple of the offensive linemen have moved on. But that is not an excuse, which means there's less time for Jeff. So I'm not saying it, but
It may be an excuse, Vic. It may be a reason to rest him again than allow him to be present in the playoffs.
Hey, look, I know this. They do not want to wear him down. And so right now they had projections. Some of the prognosticators had the Rams losing because they were going against these powerful teams that were predetermined as losses. They got past all of them, shockingly, barely in some cases. So right now it looks like they're headed that way. Let me give a shout out to those haters that was killing Daniel Jones and the New York Giants, as all of a sudden they see the wide gap between how he looks and Eli Manning look. It's really unbelievable that this guy is that productive. Now, it was against Tampa Bay, which gets back to Jameis Winston. While I can congratulate Daniel Jones, will Jameis stay consistent? Will
No.
I made that easy.
He'll stay, no. He'll be consistent in his inconsistency.
Got it. Okay, good. All right, got it. No problem. Are the Raiders who we thought they were? You know, they got smashed by Vikings yesterday.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would. The Raiders are okay, kind of. Give them a moment. There's things that are good. They've adjusted. There are things they did well.
Okay.
So I'm not ready to change with one game because they.
Okay. You ready to throw your hands up for the Dallas Cowboys, the most powerful team in the NFC right now?
Same thing.
So you're not giving them any?
No. I think we need to go. We will see.
Okay. And Patrick Mahomes, man, I don't have to say anything else.
No, excellent play.
Right.
Even though I still said what Lamar Jackson did to me was the most impressive of the day. Just the crazy kinds of plays that he was able to pull off. But still, Patrick, again, we're looking at the Super Bowl being laid out in front of us.
Right.
The Patriots, Kansas City.
And let me just say this. There's a team that's undefeated over there next to the Patriots. They call Buffalo.
That's right.
Hey,
Are they real or not?
And I'm not taking away. I still think Patriots are solid, but they're not that good yet because the teams they played against have been really awful teams. I don't know if the combination of them got more than one win. That's 3 games with maybe a combination of a win or 2. Still not all. All right. Guess what, Mario?
What?
I'm done. Brother. I'm ready to get out of here, man.
That's right, Victor Allen's New Sports. A recurring segment of the Morning Cover with Mario show here every week. You can be part of the party. Dress appropriately. Sports bras and jock straps. Get ready. All about the sports. It's all about the sports.